Despite entering the All-Star break as the team with the third most missed games amongst their players in the entire league, the Miami Heat have not only stayed afloat, but completely excelled, holding on to the number one seed in the Eastern Conference, and now that they're finally healthy, I think it is looking more and more likely that that is where they are going to finish the regular season. And yet, despite their impressive success in the face of so much adversity, nobody is really talking about Miami as a legitimate title contender. The one seed with a bunch of their best players missing significant time should be considered one of the title favorites, right? And yet, people act like this team is the Utah Jazz of the East. I'm sorry, Utah fans, that's mean, but it's the truth. You know the NBA media doesn't give a shit about you. And apparently, they don't give a shit about Miami either, because nobody is talking about this team. You see the Nets, you see the Bucks, and you see the Sixers. You even see the Bulls and the Cavs a hell of a lot more than you see the Heat get mentioned. And I think it's completely unjustified. So while I'm not sure if you should view them as the title favorite, just because they're going to finish as the one seed, I really think the Miami Heat need a deeper look, and it is too dang soon to write them off as a first or second round exit instead of a legitimate threat to win the championship. Looking at the stats, the Miami Heat have played 59 games this season and currently have a 38-21 record with the number 6 net rating in the league, having a top 8 offense and defense, and that only becomes more impressive when you look at the injuries. Like I said, 59 games this season, and in those 59 games, Jimmy Butler has missed 19, Kyle Lowry has missed 13, Bam Adebayo has missed 25, Tyler Hero has missed a little over 10, and Markieff Morris has only played 10 games after getting rammed hard from behind by sloppy fat boy Nikola Jokic. However, there has been a silver lining amongst these injury woes, and that is that Miami has once again proven itself to be miles ahead of the rest of the league when it comes to turning random scrub G-leaguers and guys whose careers were over into legitimate key pieces on a good team. Seriously, I don't know where they find these dudes who I've never heard of before, but they keep doing it and they keep turning them into good players. Gabe Vincent, Max Struss, Caleb Martin, and Omer Yurtseven, I hope I pronounced all those names right, but I probably didn't, I apologize. These are dudes who I'd never heard of before this season, and are now becoming relatively well-known names in the NBA because they came to Miami. Miami said, here, we need you to do this thing, and they freaking did it. A bunch of these guys, Martin, Struss, and Vincent, are pretty dang good three-point shooters, all shooting above average from 3, with Max Strus especially shooting 40% on 7 attempts a game. Dude has been huge for them. Omer Yurtseven is not a three-point shooter, but he's filled in very well as a backup center for Dwayne Dedmon, who's been the main replacement for Bam Adebayo. And this is another guy, Dwayne Dedmon, 32 years old, seems to have had a complete career revival. He's averaging 7 points and 6 rebounds, nothing crazy, but shooting 58% from the field, 52% from 3 on only 1 attempt a game, granted. I really thought this man was about to be out of the league, and he comes to Miami, and, bada bing, bada boom, all of a sudden he's a very solid backup center, so what the heck? As a result of all of these players coming out of seemingly nowhere, Miami now has possibly the deepest bench in the entire NBA. There's an argument to be made that when healthy, there are 12 to 13 players who can legitimately contribute on an NBA team in the playoffs. Erik Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the league, and he now has a fantastic lineup of players to mess around with his rotations to figure out what works and what doesn't for the last 20 or so games of the season, with his 3 stars all back and healthy, knock on wood. And speaking of those 3 stars, let's talk about Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo. Butler is having another very good and very underrated season. He's giving you 22, 6, and 6 with 2 steals on 48% from the field. The man cannot hit a three-pointer to save his life, which I really don't understand. I swear he was a good three-point shooter like 4 years ago. No idea what happened there, but he is also shooting 90% from the free throw line on 8 attempts a game. The man is a beast, anywhere inside the arc. He is a great mid-range shooter, he's a great finisher at the rim, he became a great playmaker while he's been in Miami out of seemingly nowhere. Once again, Miami just finds talents for these players that we didn't know they had, and of course, he is a very good defensive player. Jimmy Butler is the heart and soul leader of this team. He is a perfect fit there, and I'm really happy for him. I wish he would have stayed in Philly. I'm a big fan of Jimmy Butler, but I'm so glad this man found a team that really respects him and works with how he wants to play. Everybody else plays the ways he wants to play, you know what I'm saying? Bam Adebayo has missed more games for this team than anyone else besides Markieff Morris, but when he has played, he is once again looking like that borderline all-star kind of dude. He's averaging 19 points, 2 steals, and a block, with 10 rebounds and 4 assists, 52% from the field. He's yet to make a three-pointer, and I think he's just feeling uncomfortable after being out for so long with injury, but we have seen flashes of the Bam Adebayo that we know he can be. He can hit those mid-range shots, he can take dudes off the dribble, he's one of the most switchable defenders in the entire league, and he is a very good playmaker for a center. And just real quick, I want to jump in here, I'm going to come back to Kyle Lowry, but PJ Tucker is another guy on this roster who the Heat turned into a pretty solid playmaker out of nowhere. Like, they've played him as a small ball center quite a few times, and they run him like Bam Adebayo. I've seen clips where they're playing him like he's playmaking out of the elbow and creating plays just like Bam would. And once again, this is a dude who is not known as any kind of a passer. He's only averaging 2 assists a game, but that is a career high for him, mind you. They just keep finding these dudes who are old and they turn them into new things. It's crazy. Sorry. Got off topic there with the passing, but let's go back to Kyle Lowry. I will touch on PJ Tucker again in a moment. Kyle Lowry has been phenomenal for this team. He's only averaging 13 points a game, but he has 8 assists going along with that. He's still playing very good defense, and he's shooting 35% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. Nothing crazy, but a pretty solid 3-point shooter, and just pretty good all-around contributions. This team has so many dudes who can pass, so many dudes who have at least some switchability on defense, and they all just play really damn good team basketball. Then you've got Tyler Hero, who is currently probably the favorite for the 6th Man of the Year award. He's averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists off the bench, 37% from 3 on 7 attempts a game, 43% from the field overall, 88% from the free throw line. I still think that Miami fans were certainly overrating this man when they didn't want to trade him for James Harden. Thank you so much, Miami fans. I'm very glad he ended up on the Sixers instead. But even if he is not the future superstar that a bunch of Heat fans thought he would, I could absolutely see him becoming an all-star in a few years, and right now, he is the best bench player leading the unit for a team that, like I said, probably has the deepest bench in the entire NBA. Finally, we got to talk about PJ Tucker and Duncan Robinson, 2 guys whose main job is shooting 3-pointers. Tucker is shooting an incredible 45% from 3 on 3 attempts a game, while still being a very good, very switchable defender. Once in a while, he goes in the post and does his thing. They play him as a small ball center in certain lineups, and like I said, best playmaking season of his career. Not by any means even, I would say, like an average playmaking season. Like, he's still not a great passer, but Miami has made him far better than he used to be, and they are just so damn good at getting players to buy into their system and to adjust their role to help them win games. Last, we got Duncan Robinson, not a good defensive player by any means. His 3-point shot is down from years prior. He's only shooting 36% from 3, but he is taking 8 attempts a game, and we all know this man can shoot. Like, we all know that Duncan Robinson is completely capable of getting hot and making 7 threes in a game on any given night. So he is very much a threat that you cannot leave open for a split second, or he is going to make you pay. This is a deep team filled with shooting, playmaking, defense, scoring in general. They have good rebounders, they've got good centers. I really don't see any weaknesses with Miami. There is no true weakness on this team, and if somebody gets hurt, if you have 1 or 2 players go out, well, they're so freaking deep that they can just plug a new guy in their place and almost lose nothing depending on the player. Like, if they're missing Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo, or really Jimmy Butler or Kyle Lowry, yeah, it's gonna hurt more than someone else, but specifically, Forgot how to talk there. You lose a role player on this team, it almost doesn't matter because they have so many dudes who do similar things at a significantly high level. So why isn't this team the title favorite for me? Well, the only real issue with this Miami team comes down to their star power. Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo are all all-star to fringe all-star level players, with Tyler Hero as a 6-man of the year leader off the bench. But they do not have a true superstar. As much as I love Jimmy Butler, he is not a legitimate superstar. He is not a top 10 player in the league, or even quite like a top 12 one. I'd say he's fringe top 15. So when you face a team like a Giannis, or an Embiid and Harden duo, or a Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving duo, if Kevin Durant gets healthy and Kyrie Irving ever plays again, it's reasonable to assume in the playoffs that the team with the superstar is going to win, because that is what we have seen happen time and time again. But Miami, on the other hand, has continued to kind of defy expectations with what teams are supposed to do and like how good players are supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, they continue to outperform how good they're supposed to be despite a lack of stars. They keep turning, lower tier players into really good ones. And Jimmy Butler, we've seen turn on the superstar key or whatever. I don't know what metaphor I was trying to make there, but we've seen this man play like a superstar in the playoffs and the finals before. We saw it in 2020. So, like, my gut is telling me that Miami can't get it done because of their lack of star power, but if Jimmy Butler just gets his shit together in the playoffs and starts making threes again, or if you just have a randomly good series, like you have all these role players and they're all playing great, it would not be that strange to me to see Miami pull off some kind of finals run. I still have the Bucks ranked number 1 in the East, I have the Sixers just behind them at number 2, and then once again just behind them, I have Miami over the Nets, over the Bulls, far ahead of the Cavs and the Celtics and the rest of the Eastern Conference. I really think they could do it. I think with the Sixers and the Nets' potential chemistry issues, especially the Nets, Miami could beat those teams. I'm really hoping the Sixers, that's my team. I'm hoping that Embiid and Harden are a perfect fit, and Harden is that guy. But until we see him play, we really just don't know. And even Milwaukee has some potential chemistry issues with how much time they've missed this season. We have seen Miami slow down Giannis in the playoffs before. I don't think it would be as easy to do these days as it was back in 2020, but it still is a possibility, and Chris Middleton tends to be inconsistent. It would not be too out of character for him to just play bad in like 5 out of 7 games in a playoff series. He's certainly done it before. So for the Heat to make it out of the East, I don't think it's unreasonable whatsoever. I don't have them as the favorite, but the gap between them as my 3rd choice and the Bucks as my number 1 choice is very slim, and especially if they can stay healthy and if some other teams show some signs of issues, I don't think it's unlikely at all that Miami manages to make it out of the Eastern Conference. The playoffs and the finals even are wide open. There are a solid 6 or 7 teams who could win the title this year, and if you don't think Miami's one of them, I really don't think you've been following this team at all. Thank you for watching.